Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Friday, and we got some news, people. Man, we out here in the offseason just thirsting for news, and they finally give us some crumbs on a Friday. That's right, the Packers and Aaron Jones restructuring his contract, bringing his cap number down. Jones essentially taking $5 million off of his salary and getting a signing bonus instead. The Packers adding a void year to 2 years that were already existing as voids. So it sure would suggest that Aaron Jones will be around not only for 2023, but also 2024, which you absolutely love to see. Nothing's, for sure, for certain ever in the NFL, but that's how it looks sitting here today after this restructure announcement. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about Aaron Jones. I've said it so many times. Get him the ball. He is the straw that stirs the drink. He's coming off a phenomenal year. This past season, Jones rushed for a career-high 1,121 yards and caught 5 touchdown passes. Unfortunately, he was criminally underused, not only between the 20s, but especially in the red zone. Have to get back to getting him the ball in goal-to-go situations. He has a nose for the end zone, unlike any other player I've ever seen. Give him opportunities, and touchdowns will follow. For his career, this is amazing. Jones has rushed for 5 or more yards per rush 4 times in his 6 NFL seasons, and he averages 5.1 yards per rush over his 86-game career. Every time you give the man the ball, you're going to get roughly 5 yards. That's insane. He also has 3 1,000-yard rushing seasons on fewer than 250 attempts, which ranks second all time. Aaron Jones is the man, the myth, and the legend. You love to see it. So happy he's back in the fold. I have no doubt that there were discussions, thoughts about releasing Aaron Jones because of the contract situation. I did wonder, because it is Drew Rosenhaus and company at the helm for Aaron, I did wonder how those negotiations would play out, if Rosenhaus would try to play some hardball, but seems like they found something that could work for everybody, and God knows Packers fans should be thrilled with the outcome because, I joke about how little they use him in certain situations. I hate how he disappears for stretches in games on the sideline when they're featuring A.J. Dillon, which is fine, but we all know Aaron Jones is the man in Green Bay and needs to get the ball as much as possible. We'll see if things change here next year as far as the distribution of carries. I think it's going to be hopefully a little bit more running back centric, but we'll see. Who knows? With Aaron Rodgers coming back, you got to expect they're always going to be a pass first team, but getting the ball in Aaron Jones's hand is always a recipe for success. No question about it. And before anyone brings it up, because I know they will, the fumble in the game against Detroit, the fumble against Tampa Bay earlier in the year, are they concerning? Absolutely. But the Green Bay Packers all-time rushing leader also had an issue with fumbles. That's Ahman Green. They can be corrected. They can be worked on. And I suspect Aaron Jones will be spending this entire offseason working on that. So somebody's got to bring it up. So I'm just going to head you off at the pass. I believe in Aaron Jones, and I think he will get that corrected, and it will cease to be a problem. But that's because I root for our guys, unlike some Packers fans who seem to only ever glom onto the negative each and every opportunity they get. Hello, everybody in the comment section. So good to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Brandy's here. Soder's here. Dennis is here. The whole gang is here. I like it. Matt, thanks for joining the Carry the G Club. Really appreciate the support. If you guys are at home thinking, what's the Carry the G Club? It's an exclusive club here on the YouTube channel. You get access to special emojis featuring Corey and myself, access to our weekly happy hour, and other little tidbits like getting to challenge me in Madden if you're so inclined. So come on in. Join the growing throng, as it were, of Carry the G Club members. Cheeto, thanks for the super chat. Nags, love you guys. No, you don't understand. Shh, listen, I love Cheesehead TV. Finish his beer. Seriously, you guys are awesome. Well, that's deeply touching here on this Friday afternoon. Thanks, buddy. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. Joe, thank you for the super chat. Does McGinn podcast suggest there is now enough smoke to suggest a fire? Also, what are your general thoughts on McGinn if you care to share them? I'm not going to get it too far in the weeds on Bob, but my sense after spending the afternoon trying to dig into what Bob was talking about on Ty Dunn's podcast is that I mean, it's funny you say in the thing about smoke. All I kept coming back to in my mind was the scene in JFK. There's a lot of smoke there, but there's some fire. I think, Bob is not just throwing that out there. Now, obviously, it is phrased in such a way where it feels very personal and from Bob's point of view. However, he does say he's spoken to someone who knows the team's thinking, etc. And, I'm not going to completely dismiss it. Bob's got too many pelts on the wall, so to speak, for me to be completely dismissive. I've seen Twitter all day bashing Bob and blah, 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 and that's fine. I get it. But um, even though he went after me personally when we worked together, I still have too much respect for the guy and the work he's done covering the Green Bay Packers for 40 plus years, whatever it is, to completely dismiss when he talks like this. So, with everything, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but I'm not completely dismissing it. Let's put it that way. Jason, thanks for the super chat. I was at the Dallas Cowboys game and seeing Watson's breakout game live was something I'll never forget. In 1919 Kitchen or whatever it's called had the best cheese curds I've ever had. 1919 has decent curds. There's no doubt about it, but you need to get out more. Those are the best curds you ever had. But yes, what an awesome game to be at. I love that you were there, man. John, thanks for super chat. Jones with a Cheesehead TV shout out. He truly carries the G. I love. Oh, wait, did he do something new? I know there was the brouhaha back when Bruce wrote that they should move on from him, but I know he said he likes to carry the G, so I think that's probably more of a general reference than a reference to Cheesehead TV. But we love Aaron. I love Aaron. Even when the whole kind of the what do you call it? The drama was going on with Bruce's article. I told Aaron, I made my video, my kind of a joke, kind of a serious video about, how no, it was not time to move on from Aaron Jones. And someone tagged him in it. And I said, he doesn't need to see, he knows I love him. And he reciprocated. It's good. We always have a good time whenever I see him in the locker room. He's a good dude. Big B is here. What's up, Big B? How you doing? What else we got, folks? What else we got? Jones was a fifth rounder. 2 contracts later, he is still here. I will take a win. Yeah, Brandy, no doubt about it. Now, this isn't really a new contract that he's agreed to here. It's an adjustment, a restructure, right? But the fact that he's, remaining in Green Bay 7 years on as a running back, that's pretty impressive. Regardless of whatever round he's taking it. You absolutely love to see it, especially knowing how good he is and what he means to this offense and the team in general. And look, the whole thing, and I know there are a lot of people out there who probably roll their eyes at this stuff, but, Aaron Jones, you talk about carrying the G, the man represents the Green Bay Packers in the absolute best way possible. Everything he does on the field pales in comparison to all the stuff he does off the field, whether it's his foundation, whether it's his family time, all the stuff he does, nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year. It's not lip service, he's not doing that for artifice or for show or to, some kind of marketing ploy. That's who he really is. And you love the fact that a player that good and that big a star is also just completely what you want when it comes to representing the green and gold. And yes, carrying the G. Aaron Jones is that guy. And you talk about the model. You want to gather your rookies every year and go, that's how you do it. You point at Aaron Jones, 100%. What else we got here, folks? Nagler has Grossi challenged to Madden lately. Ryan, it's funny you asked that. No, he has not. However, we have a new challenger in our midst. Yes, next week, be on the lookout for a throwdown of epic proportions between myself and Tyler Herrick. That's right. The Cheesehead TV social wonderkin and I are going to have a battle mano a mano on Madden Online, and I am going to whoop that young man's ass. I cannot wait. I can't wait. Cody, now I feel bad for not including Jones in the new intro. Dude, you did a great job. If anybody has noticed, Cody's new intro is now being played here at the front of Packers Daily, and it is awesome. And look, you got Ken Clark, you got Christian Watson, you got Matt LaFleur. You did well as far as making sure that guys who are on the intro aren't going to be gone pretty soon. If Banky had done it, it would have been all guys who were leaving the next year, and you'd have to redo it. What else we got? Does Jones taking a pay cut mean 12 is most likely expected back? I don't think so, Nicholas. I think this decision was going to be made. I'm not going to say completely separately because it's kind of impossible to be so, but very much was going to be made regardless of who's going to be the quarterback. I don't think it portends anything when it comes to Rodgers and his decision and trying to make room for whatever they want to do with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think the two are connected. What else we got here, folks? What else we got? Better football game, Madden or Tecmo Bowl? Oh man, Madden's great. I miss Tecmo Bowl though, man. I know it still exists, and I know people play it, but I just, I only got time for so much in my life. But yeah, I loved playing Tecmo Bowl back in the day. Super Tecmo Bowl was my jam. That was good stuff. What else we got, folks? Uncultured Barbarian is here. I haven't seen you in forever, man. I hope you're doing well. Miss your jukebox. The tunes. Need some tunes up in here. What else we got, folks? What else we got? Trade Rodgers, get key components to let LaFleur and Love cook. Well, the components will most likely be draft choices. I'd be surprised if any players are included in the trade, but I mean, hopefully that would be, yes, a step in the right direction. But I love the prospect of getting to see Jordan Love take over. No doubt about it. Can't wait to see Rodgers' reaction about Jones' contract when he gets out of his darkness hole. I mean, I think he's in it now, right? I mean, he said end of the week. It's the end of the week. So I would assume, yes, Aaron is in the darkness, so to speak. One can only hope. Oh, no. I see Soder's in here talking about David Whitehurst. Well, my God. God help us all. What else we got? Matt, thank you for the super chat. Really hope Jones wins Walter Payton Man of the Year at some point in his career. If anyone deserves that recognition and truly embodies what the award means, it's Aaron. Could not agree more, man. As I was just intimating a little bit ago, he's absolutely the real deal. There's no artifice there. It is who he is through and through. Big B, where did you get that hat so I can spend more money that I don't have? At the my friends over at the National Vintage League. They are across the pond. They're based in London. You can find them on Instagram. I believe they have a YouTube channel, but they have a podcast as well. They're phenomenal, and they have all sorts of really cool retro gear. And they have tons of Packer stuff. Definitely check them out. National Vintage League. They're phenomenal. Really, really cool. Jason, thank you for the super chat. What does it mean if we keep Rodgers this season? Does it mean Jordan just isn't it? But all the players seem to want to think if Rodgers comes back. I don't think it means much other than they have tried to kind of play this contract situation, and they know they have 2 more years of control on Jordan. I'm interested to see the fallout from Bob's reporting here to see if there's any kind of more fire underneath the smoke regarding the Packers organization being ready to move on. It's one thing to put that stuff out there on Super Bowl morning about, we're open to whatever Aaron wants to do. Bob's coloring of it sounds a lot more like the Packers want to move on, which could very well be true. So I'm going to reserve judgment here. I'm still of the mind that he's going to be back for another year. But hey, so it feels like it's inching closer. No doubt about it. Next, does Kenny need help, or is that help on the roster? Nah, he needs help. Now, they've got some young, promising talent. No doubt about it. You saw Devontae Wyatt and TJ Slayton play pretty damn well down the stretch. You definitely need Wyatt to play more, but they're going to need veterans along that line to fill some gaps. No doubt about it. Maybe they take a flyer or two in the draft, but, I mean, they're most likely going to be watching Dean Lowry and Jerron Reed walk out the door. Maybe they re-sign one of them, but more likely than not, they're going to have to, bring some bodies in off the street to help bolster things, because as well as promising as their play was, Slayton and Wyatt are still very young players. Although Slayton, coming into his own in year 3 would be a nice addition, would be a nice development. But yeah, no, Kenny is officially back in needing help mode. No doubt about it. If Love is the starter, do we bring in a cheap journeyman vet just in case? I think there's a possibility of that, but I wouldn't say it was automatic. They might just do what Ted did back when Aaron Rodgers became the starter and just draft a couple quarterbacks. I know they really like Danny Etling. I would be very surprised if they let him be the backup. But maybe they draft a guy or two and let that competition play out in camp and let that whoever kind of rises above gets to be the primary backup. But I wouldn't completely dismiss the possibility of a veteran backup. But we've seen them go another route before, and we'll see how Brian wants to treat it. Which do I keep? Dean Lowry or Jerron Reed? I keep Reed. I think he played pretty damn well the last month of the season. And he was up and down all year, a little more inconsistent than I would have liked, but I still think there's promise there and a ceiling that he probably hasn't hit in this defense. Whereas with Dean, he had his career year 2 years ago, and he really fell off last season. I think it's time to move on there. Matt, thanks again, buddy. Does Green Bay handles Gary's return the same way it handled Bach's return? It's hard to say just because, each injury is different, and Bakhtiari's was such an outlier as far as the issues he was dealing with the fluid and not being able to kind of get right in that regard, because structurally he was fine, but the fluid was a real problem. Now, no idea, obviously, what's going on with Sean and his recovery, but the hope would be, it's not nearly as, arduous for him to get back on the field or a better timeline. But I think they'll be cautious because they're the Green Bay Packers, and that's what they always are, right? They're always going to be, cautious and make sure that the player's taken care of. I remember when I talked to Dave about his knee injury, that initial first offseason, and he said McKenzie had told him, we want you for 4 seasons, not 4 games. And that's kind of their philosophy, right? They're always going to be looking long-term, and I don't think Rashawn's injury will be any different in that regard. Uncultured, what's up, man? Today's jams are Love Song by Tesla and I Believe in a Thing Called Love by The Darkness. See what I did there? Have a good week. Good to have you back, Uncultured. We miss you. Smalls, thanks for the super chat. If this Badgers generation comes out as good as everyone hopes, do you see us actually drafting a Badger? Has the thinking at 1265 changed on that? I think a little bit, because Ted was definitely one to shy away from drafting Wisconsin prospects. And, I remember Elliott straight up told me that he didn't want to put that kind of pressure on a young guy coming out of Wisconsin, like being a star at Wisconsin, then coming to Green Bay. He felt that was like not a bad situation, but a lot of pressure for a guy. And so he kind of almost always shied away from it. Of course, the Jared Abadarises of the world do sometimes pop up. I'm sure a lot of Packers fans wish he would have eschewed that thinking when TJ Watt was available, but yeah, they used to very much shy away from Wisconsin products. I don't think that's so much the case anymore. I think if there was a guy who was a Badger and just happened to fall the right spot in the draft, the value was right, I think Brian would take him. But he's taken a lineman already in the last couple of years, and I just don't think they're kind of off the board the way they were with Ted anymore. Almost people feel about Barry, but what is something you feel he did well this year? I think he did a fine job at the bye week of recognizing what needed to change as far as his approach in the defensive backfield. It's easy for us to sit on the outside and go, well, you've got to do this and you got to do that, especially when it comes to like rushing the quarterback in the absence of Rashawn Gary. But the fact that they won the games that they did and they played defense as well as they did without their best player, especially down the stretch when it's the most important time of year for you to do so, that to me gets a tip of the cap. Now, it's still way too inconsistent. It's still maddening at times, some of the rules in the back end. That's something that hopefully gets addressed this offseason. But you want your guys, you want your squad playing the best it can down the stretch when it matters most. And, Bears guys did that. So for me, I would give him kudos for that. Shout out to Danny Davis. Man, Danny Davis was having such a good camp before he got hurt. I hate that for him, man, because he was having a really good camp. But what are you going to do, Barry collected his paycheck pretty well. Now, Brandy. Yes, you get paid when you do the work, and he did the work. Now, we may not love the results, but he did the work. It's not like he was sitting there like, on a beach somewhere calling in the game plan. Like, he was working. And yes, he got paid for it. part of the gig. Beagle was a sop to try to reduce the outcry when they traded TJ Watt for Kevin King and Vince Beagle. I mean, maybe. I know. Hey, look, a lot of people liked Vince Beagle as a prospect coming out. Shout out Justice. So it's not like I don't think he was sitting there going, well, we're going to have a guy that's just as good. But I do think, Ted thought that Vince was going to be more of a mainstay. I know Pettin didn't seem to really like him at all. And they kind of soured on him really quick. They kind of sealed the deal for him in Green Bay. But I think Ted saw a player there, and that's why he took him. I don't think it really had much to do with like, I got to quell the outcry about TJ Watt. Tim, thanks for the super chat. Love Kenny, but we are giving him a pass when he basically disappeared for a big chunk of the season. No, because I'm not, because of what he was being asked to do. It's hard when you're there taking up double teams or even getting single teamed on 3-step drops. I think he's doing what he can. I think there are games where he certainly didn't play to his expectation or his standard, right? No doubt about that. But for the bulk of the season, I think he did what was being asked. And I think teams knew that they could concentrate on Kenny without really having to worry about too much else. I think that changed down the stretch once Wyatt got on the field, which makes me pretty damn excited for next season. But yeah, just because, yes, there were certainly stretches where there wasn't much in the way of production, but that doesn't always mean that he's, not doing what he's asked to do. It's just probably not being given the best opportunities. Matt, thanks again. Okay, non-pack related question this time. Favorite Oasis song, if you're a fan? I personally love, some might say, and Slide Away, among many others. My favorite is Married with Children. It's the last song on their debut album. I absolutely adore that song. And I've got a bunch that I love, but that one is absolutely killer. Sean's here like 22 minutes in. You see McGinn and Dunn's article about Rodgers? Yes, Sean, we've talked about it. Go back and hit the replay. All right, buddy, I'm going to have to get going. Can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go Pack, go.